All right, there we go. First meal, first day. So what I have is exactly what ChatGPT wrote down for me for today. We have broccoli, we have salmon. Well, it's actually not exactly what it said because this is bulgur, not quinoa, as it says on the paper. But it's a good replacement, and quinoa is a bit expensive, so I replaced it with bulgur, and it has a little bit of chopped red onions in it, some salt, some pepper, and some garlic. Now, the piece of salmon, you might think that looks pretty small for a 150 gram salmon. That's because I skipped gym already on day one. That's a good start. At least I finished my water almost, so that's good. But I barely got any sleep last night, so video editing takes a while. So I was up till about 2 a.m. and I still had to work today, so didn't get much sleep. So I figured, let's go to the gym tomorrow when I'm better rested. And as kind of a punishment, I only get to eat half the salmon, but I'll eat it tomorrow. So, because then I'm going to the gym. All right, so this is the first meal. I was looking forward to this all day because I was pretty hungry. Now, let's try it. The salmon first. I once read some kind of article that said you can tell a lot about a person based on what they eat first. You know, when you get a plate and it has some vegetables, some meat or fish, and something on the side, then yeah, it says something about your personality, what you go for first. And if I have a plate like this, then I definitely go for the fish first. So, very good. And I should just grab the camera and share. So, the salmon is not too dry, perfectly well cooked. The broccoli is probably a little bit overcooked, I'm not sure. It feels kind of, yeah, let's try it. Nope, nice and crunchy. The bulgur is fine. So yeah, that's my first meal. Now, let's look at the rest of the list. And yeah, then we can see what's coming up in the rest of the week. And I'm also going to show you how to use ChatGPT to make your own diet plan.
In the previous video, you already saw the printed version of this, so this I made in Canva. But the text is directly copied out of the ChatGPT chat, so I didn't have to type everything in there, just copied it here. And the idea is that we follow exactly what ChatGPT has given us. And I'm really trying not to make any adjustments, except for, you know, for example, here, it says things like 15 grams of walnuts, and it could be that I take, for example, cashew nuts or a different kind of nut. But I will always just keep in mind that certain nuts have a little bit more fat than others, so you can adjust the grams. But ideal is, of course, if you eat exactly what's here, because then you don't have to do your own calculations. So as you see, here's the salmon. Of course, this is in Dutch, as I said earlier. Maybe you can learn a bit from this, but I will translate anyway. So here is the baked salmon, the 150 grams of vegetables. Now I actually had some more. I had 250 grams, and then it has the quinoa, 50 grams, and I had bulgur instead. Now I have to admit I didn't have the snack, so I didn't take a banana. I didn't take the walnuts today, so that kind of makes up for it. I made sure to calculate how many calories each are, so I always want to be sure that I eat no more, no less than the total amount of calories that are given for each day. And that's why it's much easier if you just stick to what is written here. Otherwise, it's going to become a bit complicated for you. But sometimes it just happens, like for today, I didn't sleep much. I had my breakfast way later than usual, so I skipped the snack. I also skipped the earlier snack right here. But the rest I did exactly as it is given here, except for the workout, as I already said, and that's why I also skipped the lunch. So basically today was only breakfast and dinner, but no workout. And I think that's fair because I didn't work out, so I kind of have the same amount of calories as I would have had I worked out. So I didn't burn those calories today, if that makes sense. I did have my water taken and I did measure myself this morning, so otherwise I did everything else. And then from tomorrow on, Wednesday 29th, I am going to make sure that I'm going to do exactly what is written here. So on Wednesday, it's just food. Then we have a workout on Thursdays again, because on Thursdays I work a bit later. So perfect for me to go in the morning. And an example of a workout that it gives me is 5 minutes of warm up, then some bench presses, incline dumbbell presses, triceps push down, cable crossover, and then sets of planking. And this is kind of based on the focus that I asked the chat to give me. So it's a lot of ab workouts. It's a lot of triceps, biceps, chest. And the week after, there will be a bit more focus on legs, shoulders, and back. And if everything goes well, then in April, I will start to go to CrossFit again. I will hopefully by then feel a little bit more fit, a bit more ready for it. And if not, then I might just add an extra week of this, and who knows how I feel after that. So yeah, here are all the days. I'm not going to translate everything. It's just for you to get an idea of what it looks like for me. Now, if there are ingredients that you do not like, as I've said earlier, like for example, hummus or paprika, and there are some other things, peppers, if you don't like those, then you just tell the chat and it will replace them. But these are all just suggestions. So it's between brackets. So this means stir-fried vegetables, or pan-baked, I should say. And it's, for example, it's broccoli, peppers, onion, and mushrooms. Now, I didn't buy mushrooms, but just make sure that if you switch with ingredients a bit more than you should, make sure to count the calories that you are actually taking in. Because otherwise, what is the point of following this diet? So Saturday, Sunday, and then there's a whole other week. Now I see I didn't fill in my snack and dinner here. That must be a mistake because I did. On the printed version it's there, so I must have messed around with this a bit. But everything is otherwise filled in, at least I hope. But I still have the whole text, which is a separate document. You can do the same and make sure to save that somewhere. So I always have access to it on my phone as well, because the document is stored there. And then finally, right here on Friday, the 7th of April will be the very last day. No, it actually should be the 8th. So I don't know where that day went. There it is, the 8th of April. That will be my last day. I want to run 10 kilometers, hopefully outside if the weather is good enough. And then the day after, I'm going to Vienna for a little trip, and I really want to be able to eat some nice things there. For example, the Apfelstrudel. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's my favorite dessert. And that certainly isn't something that would fit in this diet. But sometimes you have to treat yourself a bit. So my goal is to finish this, go to Vienna, and have my piece of Apfelstrudel with lukewarm vanilla sauce. Very much looking forward to that. Now, let's go on and let's see how you create something like this with chat. I'm not going to go over the whole Canva thing. I'm quite sure everybody can do that for themselves. If people are interested in it, then let me know, and I can still show you how to do this. But otherwise, here is how you create the diet with chat. All right, the first thing we need to do, obviously, is go to the chat OpenAI.com website, where you will find an empty screen or an empty chat. And as you can see, I'm using GPT-4. Now, the standard one at this time, you can see now that it is March 28th, 2023. So at this time, the fourth one is the newest one. Maybe by the time that you will be watching this video, it will be maybe GPT-8. Though I think if that's the case, then probably the world has been taken over by it and there isn't much left for you to select. Anyways, both these, the paid one and the free one, they can both do the same. It's not hard for the AI to create a diet plan for you. Just be careful that the 3.5 at this point doesn't generate something like this, because it says it's against its policy. It's not licensed to do so. It's not, so to speak, a professional. And it will refuse to give you your diet plan. Now, you can bypass this just by saying, it's not for me, I'm not going to use this, it's just an example. And as soon as you add that to your command, then there it goes. It's going to type or write the plan for you. In ChatGPT 4, that is not necessary anymore. So it just works as soon as I give it my details, which I'm going to do right now. And well, I guess since I'm going to feed it my details, it's a good time for me to introduce myself to you. So my name is Cedric. Now for the model here, it doesn't matter. They don't need your name, but the rest they certainly do need. And that is my age. I'm 35. I'm a man. Well, you might have seen that, but the chat can't know, obviously. I'm 176 centimeters tall or short, depending on your own length. And my weight is 79.1 kilograms. Now, I'm using the metric system here. I might translate it if you're not familiar with these numbers. But obviously, the chat doesn't need everything in the metric system. It understands everything. You can also type it in your own language. It doesn't matter. I'm doing it in English here. Earlier, I did it in Dutch. Works just as well. I have no idea if there are any languages that the AI is not familiar with. Now, I have a physically active job. It's important to say that because then the chat knows that you are already moving even if you don't work out. But actually, I do work out 3 times a week. So I ask the chat to give me a 10-day diet plan that will help me lose 3 kilograms. That is my goal. Now, how I got to this, I will show you in a minute. And avoid as many carbs and sugars as possible. Write it down day by day. That's how I want it. I also forgot to say I want snacks in between each meal. And I'm writing in between incorrectly. There we go. So this should do it. Let's see. If I'm not happy with what the chat is doing, you will see that there is always this option here to stop generating a response. Now, the GPT-4 is not as fast as 3.5, but it seems that's because it's thinking a bit longer. So it takes a little bit more time to write down something that you ask it to do. But there we go. So it always gives you a little bit of a warning saying like, I'm not a nutritionist, and a doctor might be more, how do you say that, suitable to give you such a thing. But we don't care in this case. I want to use the plan given to me by the chat. And there we go. You can see exactly what was done for me earlier. We have breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, and dinner again. This is exactly the plan that I'm using now. So this seems to be the default plan that the AI is giving you at this point. Who knows, it might change later. So this is going to take a while, and we're not going to wait for that because the video will be way too long and it's kind of boring. Another thing I could have added, maybe something I should have added. So let's stop. And here I can say, start over. Use fewer ingredients. I have a small fridge. Now you will see that it will not come with a different thing every day, because here we have zucchini noodles with ground beef, we have salmon, and probably the third day would have been something like chicken or turkey. And in a plan I created earlier, it came up with prawns, it came up with all kinds of fish. If you can afford that, or if you have enough storage to do that, or the time to do your grocery shoppings every day, then sure, go ahead, it's perfect. It gives you really, really nice meals, but I want to keep it a bit more simple. So it's thinking again, it's coming up with a new plan. And you will see that it understands exactly what I want here. Another thing is that if it doesn't do what you want, as you saw, you just stop it and you add more commands, or you give it more restrictions. At some point it will stop, because all these plans, all these days, they do not fit in one reply. You saw earlier, I don't know if I didn't show you. So in the current 4th version, it can only generate 25 responses per 3 hours. I believe that is because there's so much demand for this that they need to restrict that a little bit, even though I'm paying for it. It's quite interesting, actually, how that works. But now it's starting again, and at some point it will stop because it doesn't fit. And then all you have to do is type here, go on. That is the best command I found. It understands exactly that it doesn't need to start over, it doesn't need to come up with something new. It will go on, it will continue exactly where it left off, where it left its typing. So that's it. This is how I did it. This is how it works. Now, let me show you how I came up with those 3 kilograms that I wanted to lose. And I did that with the calculator right here, calculator.net. And then what I have here is the BMI calculator. So you could say it kind of calculates your fat percentage in your body, and you can see here that it's kind of considered normal or healthy. Now, I'm not saying that this is what you should, of course, go for. It's what I want to go for. If you feel comfortable being a bit higher, then up to you. Of course, that's fine. Obviously, if you are in the red, then we can just conclude that it's not really healthy for you, and I would really recommend you to go for a bit of a lower BMI. Anyways, so you know my age, 35. I'm male, my height is 176, and my weight is 79. And I calculate, and you will see, there we go. Unfortunately, it's just in the overweight area here, just after normal. So it's not much. I don't need to do a lot. And that's how I came up with 76, because now if I calculate again, you will see that it's just in the green. Now I might go a bit lower and strive for 73. You will see now I'm right here. It's still not perfect. I wonder how what my weight should be to be really on the center of normal. So that would be here, only 68 kilograms. I don't remember the last time I had this weight. It must have been something like I was 15 or 14 years old. That's what it feels like to me. Now I have to say that I've been doing a lot of CrossFit around the period just before COVID. I was exercising about 3, 4, sometimes 5, 6 times a week, which helped me gain a lot of muscles. And you have to keep in mind that that also increases your weight. So it's not a really fair thing to use if you are kind of a strong build, if you have more muscles, because then obviously your BMI is not at risk. You do have a higher weight, but you don't have as much fat. There are other ways to do this. You can just measure your fat with a tool, but we're not going to do that today. I just wanted to show you this first, and you can now create your own plan with the help of ChatGPT. Let's see how far it is. You see it stopped at day 5. So all I do is say go on. It was at snack in day 5. It's going to think a bit again, which to me seems a bit silly because it's already been thinking about this. You see there is a lot to improve on this chat. And well, it should go on here. So snack cheese. I've never had cheese snack before. Cheese sticks, celery sticks, cheese sticks. Okay, so it's going to be every second day you get the same thing with this diet. Again, if you don't like it, ask to change things. You can even say change day 4. I'll show you. Change day 4 and go on. So that's kind of simple. It's going to think. And there we go. Day 4, it's changing it. It was Greek yogurt with chia seeds, and now I'm going to get 2 hard-boiled eggs. Lucky me, because I prefer eggs in the morning rather than yogurt. Let's see if it understands if it should go back now to, well, actually it was only at day 5, so there we go, day 5, yeah, there we go, so it starts over again. Perfect. All right, that's all I wanted to show you. Good luck. If you have any questions or any remarks or ideas or suggestions or things how to do this even better, don't hesitate and put those in the comments below. For now, have a really good, what should I say, enjoy your food, and I'll see you next time.